Ladies and gentlemen, in past years of Comic-Con, Adam and Jamie have had many moderators. Will Wheaton, Chris Hardwick, Vince Gilligan. This year, you're the moderator. Please welcome Adam and Jamie. Hey, everybody. How you doing, Comic-Con?
Is this working?
Oh, yeah, it's working. Sorry, my voice is trash from yelling all week. I'm doing my best Brenda Vaccaro impression. Yeah, we thought instead of sitting up here and talking story with someone who you don't care about, we thought we'd just start taking questions from you guys and talk for a full hour. How does that sound? Excellent.
I think we've been out here, is this the sixth time, Adam? Do you recall?
6 or 7. No, I have no idea.
Lost count. It's always a treat for us. Love you guys.
And let me tell you, when Jamie says it's a treat, you know it's a treat. Because homie don't lie about that. All right, where do we have questions coming from? Do we have a microphone? We do have a microphone here, and a sparkly person heading right towards it.
There we go.
Okay. We're going to try to get to as many questions as we can in this amount of time. We do have some clips. We figure you're going to ask questions that'll lead naturally to them. If they don't, we're just going to show them. So you better ask about them in the right order.
Okay, yes.
Hi, my name is Kira. I've been a fan of you guys since I was like that tall. Like extremely, I was long time.
Okay, I feel old now.
I've always looked up to you guys, and I'm just wondering what was the craziest myth that you've had to reject because of safety reasons?
The craziest myth that
We've had to reject for safety reasons. We've really found a way to do almost everything.
Well, actually, there's a thing to do with liquid oxygen that we stopped. We got about halfway into this experiment, and what it was about was that somebody was driving a tanker truck of liquid oxygen and had an accident, and it spills the...
They tipped the truck over. They didn't wet themselves or anything.
Yeah. Sorry. So the truck spills the LOX, they call it, liquid oxygen, all over the freeway, which happens to be made out of asphalt. And it turns it into a high explosive and the whole
road into a bomb.
Yeah. And so we started experimenting with this stuff, and it is capable of making things explosive, as in high explosive.
Well, are there any scientists out there who've worked with liquid oxygen in their jobs? Anybody raise their hand? If there's any chemist who's ever worked with it, they'll tell you liquid oxygen is the scariest stuff on Earth. Because what things need to burn is oxygen and whatever they are, right? The fuel and the oxygen. And liquid oxygen doesn't make things burn. It makes them burn very vigorously, or if you treat things right, it can turn an oily rag into a high explosive. And that's not hyperbolic. It'll turn an oily rag into high explosive.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, we deal with high explosives all the time, right? So, as you guys see, it's our stock and trade, as it were. But usually we know when it's going to go off. And
that's an important part of working with high explosives.
And,
I think that's step one.
Yeah. The liquid oxygen, it's not controllable that way.
Right, it's not consistent.
Yeah, and so, when you think about what happens if you dump a bunch of, tons and tons of liquid oxygen out over this large area, what happens if it doesn't go off?
Right. This is the most dangerous thing that can happen on an episode is nothing. Because it's potentially super lethal, and yet nothing's happened. Who wants to go over there? Nobody wants to go over there.
And then on top of that, what happens if it doesn't go off and it just gases off? Say we just leave it alone. Does it stay in a cloud and drift over a neighboring highway, and all of a sudden the cars are going 300 miles an hour by surprise?
So that one, look, we could do that in small scale, but we're just not going to do it because it wouldn't be right to do it in small scale and not go to full scale. You'd feel like you were cheated. So we're not going to do that one. I just want to call out, hi, Princess Mononoke. I saw you on the floor today. Your costume is beautiful. Stand up, stand up.
Stand up.
Oh, my God. So cool, so wonderful. Hi, Sparkles.
What I wanted to ask you was, what was the weirdest myth that you thought was going to be true, but it turned out not true?
I'll tell you okay. I'm going to focus on the word weird. And have I told this? So we were doing this story about a guy who got really drunk at a party, and he realized he couldn't drive himself home, so he asked his friend to drive him home, except his friend was legally blind. And we wanted to test to see if a blind person could actually drive a car. So we tried ourselves. Jamie sat in the front of a car with a blindfold, and I sat in the back and gave him directions on a closed course. Oh, yeah, like you do. On a closed course. And he did okay. And then I did it, and I did about the same as okay. And then we brought in a real blind guy who did better than either of us because he's blind and he's used to following directions about moving through the world. He was excellent at it. So then it was time to get Jamie drunk. You have to be careful about getting your Heinemann drunk. And we actually pissed off the liquor company. We used one of Jamie's favorite alcohols, Maker's Mark.
And I thought it would be funny, to take the bottle and lie in the gutter and get drunk. And
he literally did all the drinking lying in an actual gutter. And while we obscured the words Maker's Mark, the bottle was still identifiable, and they were upset about it.
Yeah, they thought it reflected poorly on the brand for some reason.
Warning, we'll get Hoosiers drunk. So then we put drunk Jamie in the back of the car and the blind guy behind the wheel in this abandoned little neighborhood around Monterey, California. And the most astonishing thing happened, which was drunk Jamie giving directions to sober blind guy made him drive like a drunk person. Like weaving all over the road and going like 1 mile an hour. We're in this chase car, which is so not aptly named because we're crawling along, and at the end, Jamie steps out and is like, I thought that went great. That's the weirdest result we've ever. I would have never imagined that in my whole life.
Next, thank you.
Hello. The question I have for you, Adam, what's the most painful thing that you did on the show?
Yeah, well, so there's different kinds of pain. There's pain to one's pride and integrity. I gave that up a long time ago. There's physical pain is we did this episode on. Actually, no, yeah, we did this episode on will cursing actually lessen your pain, and it does. And in order to test for that, we were testing different methods for achieving pain in a safe manner, which is scientifically non-trivial. And we ended up using our hands in a bucket of ice water. But before that, I did have a doctor inject capsaicin, which is what makes hot peppers hot, inject it into my skin. Yet that wasn't the worst. The worst was when Jamie and I had to do a pain threshold test in season 1 about who had the higher pain threshold, so we decided to shoot each other with paintballs. I'm going to be quick about this, because I make this a very long Shaggy Dog story. Jamie starts out by psyching me out. He goes, I'm going to hit you in the same spot every single time. So we line up we figure shoot each other at 50 feet, move in 10 feet, shoot each other again, move in 10 more feet, and whoever cries uncle first, they have the lower pain threshold. So first shot goes, he hits me right in the belly button. Second shot hits me right in the belly button. And I missed him on the second shot, which shockingly gave me courage to go on because I thought, well, if I missed him, then it could follow that in the next shot he could miss me and I could get a freebie, which is the stupidest thing I've ever been told by my brain. Third shot, belly button. I'm on one knee now, and so is my crew, but not out of sympathy. They're laughing. And I call Uncle. And then I noticed the guns were set with my gun was at a... Thank you. My gun was at a lower speed setting than Jamie's. No. I'd set them up. Not his fault. Not a conspiracy. And I mentioned it to him, and he goes, well, would you like to shoot me in the stomach at point blank range? So I was like, wow, wait a minute. Yes. So I did, like right from here, like I'm in Carlito's Way. I shoot him in the stomach, and he goes, go ahead, do it.
Yeah, that hurt.
Thank you. Our people will be in touch with your people.
Well, and by the way, that also was, that was probably the one case that we had where it was both, physically and mentally painful.
Yes, I was outplayed, sir.
Your pride was hurt. Yes.
Hi, my name is Lizzie, and I'm a really big fan, but I think my big brother Adrian, he's a really, really big fan. He's seen every Mythbuster on Netflix 3 times in a row.
Does he ever get his homework done?
I even asked him, like, why do you keep watching that? Oh, I still watch that. I like that. It's like, I'm waiting for the new one to come out. So I want to ask you, you know how you did the Mythbusters Star Wars on TV? Yeah. Are you going to do any more, like Lord of the Rings or Hobbit?
Yes. I feel like an idiot saying this, but can you believe that hasn't occurred to us?
Yeah, I think we probably should. The thing about the Star Wars stuff, we're also doing another Star Wars.
We are shooting another Star Wars right now.
And there are things to do with these kinds of the fantasy things, the sci-fi things. It's not real. There's the planet.
The fictional universe.
The fictional universe. How are you supposed to test it? Well, we look at it as part of the problem to solve, to figure out how to actually do that. In some ways, it's more interesting than the problem itself, to try to find purchase on what exactly to go after. When we did the thing with the Tauntaun that you saw, that was one of those. We can test, how thermal masses conserve heat and so on.
Because Tauntauns are so hard to catch.
So we could probably find something in The Lord of the Rings or something like that.
We could catch an elf and make it tell us some secrets. We are also, I want to say, I'm going to tease, next year, we just shot an episode of Mythbusters based on a famous cartoon. And speaking of that, Jamie and I are actually appearing tonight on a Phineas and Ferb Star Wars episode. Yes. We are the voices of all the stormtroopers in the Phineas and Ferb Star Wars episode.
And we can't tell them what the other animated thing is?
No, we can't.
We're not allowed to?
We can't. Nope. Nope. Psst.
Sorry.
Hey. You want a little tease?
Sure.
Okay. So we're gonna tease. I'm sorry, Kalo. I'm gonna load the 2 teasers first before the cosplay thing. Okay? She's probably gonna be ready. So you may hopefully know that they're airing new episodes of our show right now on Discovery on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock. Yeah. So we've got 5 more coming between now and the middle of August, including is a roundabout better than a 4-way stop sign, and you haven't lived till you've seen Jamie Heineman dressed as a traffic cop, white gloves and all. And then we also figured out the best way, our season closer is how to board an airplane in the most efficient manner. Yeah. So can we show the teaser of season 10? Can we load it?
Now the myth is
it's just all too weird. You know what it is? I mean, look at me.
Jamie and I have built a mechanical mouth, which we have bolted to Jamie's head.
Nice.
Candygram.
Here we go again.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. But wait. So I promised a teaser, and we have another teaser, a second teaser, because while we have new episodes airing right now, they're episodes we shot a few months ago. We are currently shooting Mythbusters in a way we've never done before. We've added, how do I say this? We've been doing this show for 12 years. We're mixing it up. And we have a clip that shows a little bit of how more cinematically we want to make the show, and also get back to exactly the reason we're here, which is to talk about the process and the making, and putting the making more front and center, what we love about building.
Thank you.
So this is a clip of me building something. Yeah, we'll get to you in a second.
If we're going to put whips through their paces in this episode, we're going to need, wait a minute, whips. This is kangaroo hide. Don't let anyone tell you any different. This is the strongest leather in the world.
Whip making is an art for which Adam clearly has a passion.
Now, astonishingly, this right here is everything required to make a 8-foot leather bullwhip. Animal fat. But before I start, I actually need to prep the laces. I need to treat them with a leather dressing that softens them and allows me to stretch them to bring them out to their natural state. Then I'm going to braid them. I'm going to do a 4-plate braid, that is using 4 laces, and this will comprise the inner and smallest core of the whip. This will be the center. Now you're starting to see where this is going. That is called the belly. The first belly, the interior belly of the whip. I'm going to cover this belly with a bolster, which is effectively a long triangle of leather. That bolster will then get another belly laid over it.
The braided core and leather bolster is doubled up to form the second belly. And in the middle of this meticulous process, Adam couldn't be happier.
In case you haven't guessed already, I loves me the bullwhips. The meticulous, repetitive stretching, checking, cutting, lacing. It is deeply meditative. Hold on, I gotta drink my own urine. I'm kidding, I wasn't drinking my own urine. I was drinking someone else's.
There's a tease. That's the kind of thing you have to look forward to with the new Mythbusters episodes after this season, next season. Okay, you've been patiently waiting in Armor and Lights. Please. What is your question?
I remember meeting you Thursday. That was cool. Been a big fan.
For me too.
Yes. Yeah, I remember. I was wearing the same thing. So, one after another, cosplay is awesome. Have you ever tried Pepakura?
Pepakura. Well, you guys all know what Pepakura is, right? Pepakura is a wonderful program that allows you to take a 3D drawing of something and actually convert it to a pattern that you can print out on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, cut it out, and build it. And there are people on the replica prop forum building entire Iron Man suits of armor and Halo Master Chief suits out of Pepakura, and that's made out of Pepakura?
Yes.
There you go. That's an example. It's an amazing thing. No, I've never tried it.
I'll get you after.
Tagged me.
I'm the one who found you.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
You found me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, we're going to let Jamie talk in just a minute. But on Thursday, I did some cosplaying this weekend. So Thursday, I went out as the Mercury suit, in a Mercury suit, accurate to the Mercury program at NASA Suits. And then Friday, I went out, well, here, now I know we're in order, right? We can roll this one video. Let's roll what I walked out on Friday. Yes, Alien. This is Kane's spacesuit from Alien, and I've spent 10 years making this suit. In fact, the last month, I completed it a month ago, and I spent the last month going into my shop every day for 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, I was trying to look like I was like, I'm being attacked by a face hugger, but instead it looks like I'm like, look at my nails. That was the hottest costume I've ever worn, and I don't mean sexy. Although it was an excellent weight loss program. I think I lost 8 pounds in 30 minutes. I was trying to remain hyper aware of actually passing out from heat exhaustion, because I thought that would be embarrassing. I have already passed out of heat exhaustion in a costume. When I was 15, I made a suit of armor out of tin. So yeah, I walked the floor in this for about 30 minutes before getting found. This is my favorite costume I have ever made. That paint finish, the verdigris, rotted copper, bronze, the samurai armor. It's actually designed by Jean-Giraud Mobius and built by Academy Award winner John Mollo for Alien. There's just nothing like that for the beauty of something that looks like a great workaday spacesuit. It was fantastic. Now, I think I actually went to a prop store because they had one. But Jamie, inspired by my walking the floor, you tried an experiment today.
Yeah, normally I don't go out on the floor because I'd end up stopped all the time, and I wanted to enjoy it. I could wear a costume, but that, they're like Adam says, they're hot, and I don't do that kind of thing. So I decided to run an experiment to see whether I could actually go out amongst the crowds at Comic-Con. And
you had a method?
Yeah, I had a method, and the method is that I would, because you don't want to. We cherish our fans, and we don't want to be rude to them to not stop and take a picture or whatever. And so I figured that I should stay positive, and also I figured the other thing was what
technique we learned.
Yeah, it was a technique that we heard that Arnold Schwarzenegger did it actually, and several other actors have done it. And what you do is you just say yes and keep moving. And
yes, you never stop moving.
And Arnold's just marching along, yes, and how are you going to get pissed off at that, And
said yes.
Yeah, and so let's cue that up. I tried it.
I've never been a desktop before. Oh, look, I'm an animated desktop.
Maybe. We just put this together today, obviously, so.
I was out on the floor for 2 hours today. I was wearing did you see a Daft Punk helmet out there? That was me. If you saw there were a couple of dudes doing it full up in beautiful full costumes. That was not me. I was wearing this shirt and these jeans. Casual Daft Punk.
Let's take another question while we're waiting.
I guess I'm going to be shifting this a little bit to the fun at Comic-Con over to a little bit more science. My question to both of you is, what do you guys feel to be either the most important discovery or the most important invention that we as humanity needs to have, either in the next 5, 10, or even 20 years from now?
Well, that's a very deep question.
Yeah.
And, let's see. I'd actually want to think about that.
I've got a high school diploma, and Jamie has a degree in Russian linguistics.
So let me get this straight. You're wanting to know what we think is going to be the most crucial thing for us to be able to do in the future. Is that?
Yeah, something that, even drawing from things from sci-fi or things up from the future? Like, what do you think is the most important?
No, well, I'm fascinated by the study of the brain. I'm specifically fascinated by how it utilizes this incredibly elaborate and efficient pharmacy to dole out amazing things to move your body and change its chemical structure in radical ways depending on what your needs are. If you study the placebo effect, you might notice that apparently medically it's getting stronger, and it's not even affected by knowing that you're taking a placebo. Yeah. I think that when we unlock what's actually happening with the quote-unquote placebo effect, we will understand something truly novel and amazing about the human brain and be able to bring healing and fixing yourself to a completely different level. I think it's what we do now is going to seem as primitive as the way doctors were working in the 18th century once we understand that. Yeah, that sounded smart.
Now, yeah. Now that
apparently not that smart.
Yeah. Now that I've had a moment to think about it, I would have to say that I think that that the most crucial thing that we'll have to learn how to deal with is social, and namely because it implies our ability to manage the planet in such a way that we can continue to survive.
Oh, sure. Well, there's that.
Yeah. I mean, if we, you've got a population that is, it's going. It's like, it's multiplying. Whether technology is going to keep up with that or not, it's anybody's guess. But, at a certain point, there's going to be a limit. And so how we control or deal with what that limit is up to us to deal with socially. Now, currently,
hopefully it's not going to resemble a Michael Bay film.
Yeah. I mean, humanity as a whole seems to me to be this like amorphous kind of headlong rush into something that's not really very controlled. And so to be able to continue to exist, we're going to have to be able to control that headlong rush somehow, and that's a social thing.
Now, speaking of headlong rushes, our video's ready.
Oh, good. Let's run it.
Thank you, by the way.
Thank you. It's a great question.
Hi, Robert. Sure.
That is.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Can you take a picture?
Sure. Sure. Thank you. Hello. Thank you. Hello. Sure. Hello. Hello. Hello.
You know that guy right there? Hello.
Get a picture with you guys, please?
Sure.
Is that possible?
Sure. I can't stop walking though. You can't stop walking.
If we can get the
Yep.
turn around really quickly.
Sure. Oh, good. Hello. Yeah, that actually, I was out for, I think it was around 15 minutes or so. We cut it down to something rather concise, but it was really funny. I had trouble keeping a straight face. And the first guy that I ran into was like 7 feet tall, and it was a little, he was like, "Can I take a picture?" And I'm like, "Sure." Kept on going.
Oh, that's me, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, after seeing that first video, I kind of want to know what you do with all your whips. I'm not 100% sure you're allowed to answer that. I want to know what.
I don't use them. I whip things.
I would like to know.
I'll whip some shit right now. I don't care. Honey Badger don't care. Sorry.
I would like to know from both of you what, if anything, you remember from Baby Adam and Baby Jamie's very first explosion.
Oh my gosh. So there was this, there's a children's book that I grew up with called The Teddy Bear Habit by Jamie Collier, and he was a good friend of my parents, and Jamie threw this epic 4th of July party every year in Connecticut, and we went every year. And I guess at the age where where I was old enough to start like bugging the adults, like 7, Jamie, as the host, Jamie Collier, didn't want me around, so I arrived. He said hi to my parents, handed each of them a drink, and handed me a brick of firecrackers and a box of Strike Anywhere matches and said, go have fun. Don't try this at home. So I remember, oh my God, I remember doing this. What happens if I contain a firecracker? So I lit it and I put it on the table and I put a plastic cup over it. And then it went boom! And I was just holding the bottom of a plastic cup. I was like, that was cool. I didn't think that was gonna ow. Ow. I think I went through half that brick that afternoon. There was never a happier child on the planet than me doing that. I mean, I had all my fingers I couldn't hear a thing. That was my first explosion.
Let's see. I guess, actually, my first experience with that kind of thing was also with firecrackers, and I discovered that marshmallows melt and get real gooey in your sister's hair. Don't try that at home.
We have a rule on the show. If Jamie laughs, it's making the cut. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, we are not advocating giving your 7-year-old a brick of firecrackers no matter what they tell you.
Your 4th of July experiences sound shockingly similar to mine. Speaking of experiences, you guys are incredibly talented, from doing machining, vacuum forming, braiding whips. What is one skill that in the shop, the machine shop or otherwise, you wish you had? Or something that you've always wanted to be able to do?
Oh, that's easy for me. Right now, it's TIG welding. I have a TIG welder. I bought one. I set up a whole thing, and a friend of mine is going to come over and teach me how to TIG weld sometime this year. Really, at this point, it's September when I can schedule it, but that's the very next skill I want to learn, because I want to make some bicycle frames.
In my case, we've had computer-controlled milling machines and CAD stuff, some fairly advanced stuff for a long time, but I have not had the time to sit down and focus on it. Not long ago, I started working with a CAD program, and it just has it's wonderful. It has really expanded my reach. I have not gotten to the point where I can operate our CNC milling machines. I had a team of people that were on staff to do that, and it's something that you really need to get good at. You need to be able to focus on it and do it a lot. And since most of my work up to this, well, I'm working as a host now, and prior to that, I was mainly managing people in my shop, so they had those skills and I did not. But now I'm doing a lot of design work on my own, and just am building all sorts of stuff. I'm cranking out all this stuff in CAD. Now I need to know how to actually operate the milling machines.
Yeah, and actually 3D printing it's getting really, really good. We threw a tested.com party at Sidebar last night. I don't know if anyone here was there. Yeah, it was phenomenal. We had a fantastic time, and I unveiled a project that I've been working on for 5 years, which is the Mecha Glove from the beginning of Hellboy. And I finally finished it, and there's actually a significant 55-part 3D printed piece of the Mecha Glove. And I worked with the winner of the Tested.com Inventoring Contest, Sean Charlesworth, who's an amazing expert at 3D printing, and I learned a huge amount about what's possible. Because as a model maker, I thought it was just like that stuff with the lines on it, that's like really hard to do on the desktop, and it's gotten so far beyond that. So we're always trying to keep track of new technology.
Yeah, I want to bring something up while we're on that subject. The title of what we're doing tonight was, DIY superheroes, and we really look at this ability to work with all these different materials and processes as something that makes us a lot more than we are. It makes us, in a way, a superhero.
As it does anybody who makes something that improves their life or gives them a different vantage point on anything. I mean, that's what making really is. That's why Iron Man and Batman are the best superheroes. I sense some dissent. That's okay.
And so I guess what I'm getting at is that we're delighted that there's this whole maker thing, because it's really, it's not just about like, okay, so I know how to do some crafty thing. This is about extending your personal reach into the world, extending your effectiveness, learning how to do these things. And we've seen, since we've been on air, I think it just happened to occur about the same time that we came onto the scene, but there's been a very profound increase in interest in making things, people, this maker movement and so on. And you're starting to see things like Tech Shop, for example, come up. And yeah, I can see there are probably a few fans of that here. If you don't know about those, these are facilities. Actually, the guy that started Tech Shop was one of our science advisors. He worked with us in the very early days on Mythbusters. And now I think there's close to 10 of them all over the country.
And then there's hacker labs all over the country, and they're also fantastic places where you can go and learn from other people how to do things you didn't know how to do. And that's trading of knowledge is what it is all about. There's no one who cosplays here alone. It's done by a community. You reach out for techniques, you reach out for ideas, you reach out for help, you commission pieces, and that's totally vital.
Yeah, these, in case you don't know, for those of you who aren't aware of them, these facilities, like the hackerspaces or Tech Shop, they're places you pay a fee and you have a membership and you have access to pretty much what looks like the inside of M5 where we work. Yep. And they give you the basics. They don't like. It's not like you have to get a degree in engineering to use them. You come in, they show you how the machines work and what to do, what not to do, just to get started, and then the rest of it's up to you. It's pretty cool.
Where to put the fingers you don't need anymore. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, you guys. All right, so I wanted to let you guys know how much we really appreciate the show. And I unfortunately don't get to see it as much as I want to because I'm majoring in mechanical engineering. So it's
excellent. Awesome. You are more qualified than us now, probably.
But I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the show because I'm from the South where we use tannerite weekly and we experiment with different chemicals that I can't really say. And living in California where pop-its are going to be illegal now, just wanted to say thank you for all the explosions. Love it.
You are absolutely welcome.
Hi, my name is Ken, and just want to say big fan of Mythbusters. I love the way you guys figure out stuff, learn stuff, and blow stuff up. How that carried over into your tested YouTube channel. Big fan of yours, Adam. Been on your cave tour. I think you're missing Robot from Forbidden Planet and Robbie the Robot from...
Robbie the Robot, yes. My friend Brian Mix has actually built this beautiful Robbie that I'm hoping we can cover on Tested later on this year. That's a big Megillah.
What about the robot from Lost in Space?
Yeah, I love the robot for this one. The one that seems to only be able to do that. Yeah, I love both of those guys. I grew up with both of those robots and absolutely love them. I have so many unfinished projects. It may be that at some point one of those just boop, puts this thing in my head and then I'm going to work on it for 5 years. It's absolutely on the list.
Cool. The question for both you guys, thinking about the theme of this panel and looking to 2015 Comic-Con, you guys know each other pretty well. What costume would you guys make for the other knowing them full well, hopefully that they would wear it next year, what would you guys make for each other?
Well, that's an interesting challenge.
Yeah. Because frankly, this is the best Jamie Heineman cosplay I've ever seen. Truly. Wow. See, that's a tough one. Because he doesn't want to wear a costume, right? So I don't know. I might cover Jamie in lights, right? Like a suit of lights that actually had some persistence of memory thing that would actually make him interested in the physical psychology of what was going on, and thus actually interested in putting a costume on, as opposed to, what the hell is this thing?
Yeah, let's see. As to what it's tough order because you've already got everything that you would want that's interesting to put.
Oh no, there's a few.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe like a Bullwinkle costume or something. I don't know.
Quiet, you. All right. Yes, sir.
Guys.
Nice Ash costume.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Nice Ash costume. Thank you.
I'm sure we only see a small portion of Mythbusters on TV. How much of your time and energy goes into planning and things that we don't see on TV?
For every episode that we do, we turn around in an average of about 2 weeks. About half of that, on average, is building things, and then the other half is filming, us actually testing it, because we tend to go out on location. There can be up to, like we've had up to a couple of years in prep, which, one of the things that is maybe not quite as evident, and yet a really large part of what we do is the team of people that we have that get us information and materials and locations and arrange all this stuff, and that can take years to do, depending on what it is. The one that took 2 years was the lead balloon, because we could not find the lead that was thin enough for us to do what we needed to do. It was 0.0007 of an inch in thickness, all folded up on the ground before we inflated it. It was thinner than a human hair. And there were 2 companies in the United States that tried to roll the lead that thin. They were unable.
Failed.
Yeah. One of them broke a very expensive machine in trying to get it to do that.
It was like that when we got there.
Yeah. So we finally found a company in Germany that was able to do it, and they provided us with that stuff. So I guess the other...
We've gotten more efficient over the years. If there's something good, it's in the show. Like our blooper reel, it turns out to is what we broadcast. And frankly, we've also gotten much better at knowing what's important to be in the narrative. So we shoot, I guess when we were first starting, we were shooting on what's about a 25-to-1 ratio, 25 hours of footage for every hour of television. And now we're more at about a 10-to-1 ratio. Although we spent years getting better and better and better at doing conversations where we'd shoot a master and then we'd shoot reverses so that you'd get the cut-ins. And we got so good at it that we hated it, and it looked really wooden. So one of the things that we've ditched in this next season is all of that bullshit conversation. Sorry, children, it's only cool when adults curse. In favor of having 2 cameras running, so our conversations are genuine and they're there and they happen, and if we don't get it all or the audio's bad, we just keep on moving, because that's more honest and that's more really what's happening on the floor, and that's the way we like it.
Thank you. Next.
Hi, my name is Gladys, and I just wanted to ask, since they were saying about the Star Wars and the Lord of the Rings, oh man, this is so far-fetched. Do you guys ever plan to do like a Mythbusters on Sailor Moon?
Jamie, what's Sailor Moon?
I don't know. And I'm proud of it. Sorry, I am familiar with the name, but I couldn't speak intelligently about it.
Actually, neither could I, I'm sorry to say. If there's good material there, if there's something that gives people an impression about how the world may work on a physical level, by all means. Am I missing some terrible joke? Is this like creeper material?
I tell you.
Is this part of Mythbusters After Dark on the Playboy channel? Because you all know what those myths are, and we're not doing them.
No.
It's a family show.
Go
Sailor
ahead.
Moon basically is Power Rangers for girls.
Oh, that's cool. Probably. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next.
I have no idea how well we did with that answer.
All right, so my question is, what has been the most expensive explosion you've ever made?
Oh, there's nothing controversial about that. It's the second rocket car. We had two of these rockets in the back of the car. They cost $10,000 apiece. And the rocket builders were on the show, and they told us about the process. Now, $10,000 buys you a rocket that they made. For $17,000, you can buy a rocket that they made another one of that they tested to make sure the one you bought works. And we didn't pay for that one. So we had two of these $10,000 rockets that might work, and they blew up on the stand. So that was 20 grand of rockets down the tubes, plus 100 grand of keeping our crew in the desert for a week, building a ramp, doing helicopter shots, all of that stuff. And two things happened. One was I said on camera, I think someone owes us $10,000. I was wrong, it was 20. And the rocket builders immediately asked to have their on-screen credit changed to rocket experts instead of rocket builders. They didn't want the credit.
Otherwise, in a general way, the largest explosions that we've done that involve the largest amounts of explosives have been using the fertilizer diesel fuel mix known as AMFO. But that stuff it's fertilizer and diesel fuel, so it's not terribly expensive.
You know what would be really expensive?
No.
If we blew up money. Wouldn't that be awesome? We could get those bills that they're trying to destroy at the U.S. Mint, because they destroy like $1 million worth of old ones every day. We could get a few duffel bags full of that and blow that up.
There you go.
That would be the Mythbusters version of making it rain.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You looked fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. What is your favorite explosion in of all of the seasons of Mythbusters?
Yeah.
I don't,
Oh, really? I've got one.
Water heaters?
Water heaters, man. Water heaters. I heard you. I heard that response. There is nothing more fun than hearing a water heater go off, man, because most explosions are really fast, right? Like super, for 10 times the speed of a bullet, 20 times the speed of a bullet fast. So it's a crack. And you don't get to really experience what's happening until you watch it on high speed later. But a water heater is this long, slow, guttural thud that you don't know about yet, but you will. Feels exactly like falling in love.
I was going to say there actually is an interesting explosion coming up in the new season. I think we can talk about having done an A-Team episode. Is that okay for us to talk about?
You can just say those words, but we shouldn't talk about what happened.
No. What we're starting to see on some of these things, because we've gotten, I guess, more advanced in the way that we're handling some of these situations, and looking at the high-speed footage on one of the things that we were doing, seeing.
Oh yeah, that one.
Seeing the actual shock waves You might have seen in the...
Yeah, all those spherical shock waves coming out of the explosions.
Yeah.
We made one that was non-spherical.
Yeah.
I know!
It's it's amazing what you can learn from that. You can literally see the, pardon my use of the term, force as it's moving through materials. You can see
We made it was like 2 spheres.
Yeah.
It reminded me of something.
Yes.
Sorry.
So.
Couple of oranges.
There's a lot of cool stuff in all of these.
Sorry. That's why you never see our story meetings, because I go race to the bottom on every joke.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My personal favorite episode is the Demolition Derby special with the rocket sled. And, you know, when it happens so fast, you can't see it. What was going through your heads when you saw on the high speed a car just being decimated by
Actually,
a rocket?
it wasn't the car being decimated that was most shocking to me, because we're in a bunker. We're at New Mexico Tech, and it's literally like the car is traveling from there to there, and we're behind like 8-inch thick plates of glass. And we watched something break the speed of sound from 0 to Mach 1.2 within 300 feet right in front of us. And I was so astonished. If you watch the episode, you'll see me go, "Oh my God, that was amazing." And what happened is I was so shocked I drooled on camera and realized I cannot stop and say, "We got to do that again," because here's all the adrenaline. It's got to end up on the screen. So I just wiped my drool as best I could and kept on going with the take. So live drooling on camera. Thanks for bringing it up.
Thank you.
Okay. My question is, what was your favorite water heater explosion except for your most recent one, where you blew up the house?
You weren't satisfied with that one?
It was pretty funny.
Okay.
But other than that, I think that was the best one.
Okay.
I think that one with the red shed that we had
It's the most visually beautiful. The red shed blowing up is the most visually beautiful. But I would figure you for liking the one where we tried to make a cannon using the compressed steam from the exploding hot water heater inside a bigger container.
Well,
like the third scariest thing we've ever made.
No, I'd go for the little red house.
The little red house. Best part about the little red house, remember I said hot water heaters are slow? That little red house had a window that you can see in that shot. Window was not broken. Yeah, I'm like totally blown away by that. It was not broken. I'm not even sure that's technically an explosion. It's just like a really bad thing that happened to that house.
Yeah, one of our favorite things about all these explosions is going in and looking at the little artifacts that we see afterwards.
Oh, Jamie's got a desk tchotchke that's unbelievable from 22,000-foot fall.
Yeah, after we set off that explosion, I'm looking around like I normally do just to see what I could
Just
find.
to be clear, after an explosion like that, we'll be filming little bits to camera, and Jamie's just wandering in concentric circles from the epicenter on out looking for cool stuff.
And so I went over and looked at, there was an oak tree that was in the vicinity. It was some distance away, but I go over and I start looking around at the base of the oak tree, and I see this limb on the ground, and it had a piece of steel that came off of the building that we had built when it blew up. And, this is an explosive that is propelling things at around 20,000 some miles per hour. And I don't even remember what Mach that is, but it's pretty darn fast.
Mach badass.
Yeah. And that bar of steel that was probably about this long, it was like...
About as thick as a Sharpie.
Yeah. It hit the limb, and it wrapped around it, but it kept wrapping around it like a spring.
Like a piece of spaghetti.
Yeah, it's like if you took a cooked spaghetti noodle and threw it at a broomstick, and it kind of boloed around it.
This is a piece of steel that you can't bend, but it did that in less than a millisecond.
Yeah. So we see stuff like that all the time. I'm sorry, because we have a long line.
We're at
about
the 5-minute mark.
out.
We're going to be able to get to probably 2 more questions.
2 or 3 more questions?
I want to say, before we get to these questions, I really appreciate you guys waiting patiently, and I most appreciate every year you guys sitting and waiting online for this panel. We love coming here and talking to you guys, and it's totally humbling that you sit and wait, and we really hope that we're entertaining and funny for you guys.
So,
thank you.
Hi, guys. My favorite myth by far was underwater car myth, where you open up the window, let the water come in, and swim right out, and it was terrifying for you.
My mom is still not allowed to watch that episode.
I'm wondering for each of you, which myth has been your favorite in terms of educational? Like, this is information that people need. It makes their lives safer or better.
That's a great question. What myth made you guys smarter? Oh, that's a tough one. You know, for me, one of my all-time favorites is one of the most difficult stories we ever shot was swimming in syrup. Which the myth is that swimming in syrup is just as fast as swimming in water, because while the material slows you down because it has a higher viscosity, you get more push off of it with your hands because it has a higher viscosity, and those two cancel each other out. Now, spoiler alert, it's totally true! It totally works, and that's mind-blowing. And everything we tested on that episode was not what we expected. And so every day of shooting, and it was like 7 or 8 days out filling these long pools full of this really funky syrup. Every single day we finished, we got results that we didn't expect. And so we had to change what the next day's shooting and experiment was going to be. And it was just, there was a lot of arguing, a lot of discussion, a lot of problem solving to figure that out. And at the end, we were really proud of the episode.
I would say it would be Lead Balloon, and that is, it's one of both of our favorite episodes out of everything that we've done. And it kind of exemplifies the sort of things that we do, where you don't need to know how to build balloons out of lead or polished turds. This stuff is, there's a good reason that it's not generally done. But
it can be.
But it can be. And it points out, like we talked about, the process. This for us is an adventure, and whenever we take on one of these things. And the adventure in the case of the lead balloon was this wonderfully simple thing. It was just a bag that had to be, put together out of this material and inflated. But the material itself was so unreasonably weak and heavy that it was almost ridiculous to be able to do that. And it required us to so carefully internalize and see in advance everything that was going to happen when we tried to do that. So we literally had to, I like to say, it's the closest that we'll ever come to actually seeing the future. When we went through in our heads, we walked through every second of the day of that build prior to having done it, not just like a list on paper, but it was in our heads. We saw it, and then when we did it, we'd already been there. It worked. Every contingency that we had thought of, every kind of approach to deal with the contingencies, it was all there. We'd walk through it. We'd anticipate it. We already saw it, and for that was it. It was wonderful. It was just such a simple thing, and it was wonderful. Yes, ma'am.
One last question.
Whoa, thanks. Have you guys ever considered making a musical episode, and what it would sound like?
I'm sorry. That's the Buffy panel, and that's in the past.
And what it will sound like?
Do you want to hear Jamie sing?
Yeah, of course.
You should sing Happy Birthday. It's what the crowd wants.
No.
Okay, this little girl is disappointed. Let's take one more question from her, and then we're going to go. We can't disappoint the children. Thank you.
Have you ever been in a movie? Like, have you ever did special effects in a movie or something?
Have we ever been in a movie? That's the question?
or done special effects for a movie? Those are two separate questions.
We have. That's a long answer.
We've done both.
We've done both. We have been in a movie. We actually played the owners of a military salvage yard in a film called The Darwin Awards by Finn Taylor. Yeah, I know. Co-starring Joseph Fiennes and Winona Ryder. You never heard of it for a reason. But Jamie and I make a little cameo in it. It was really fun. We worked with David Arquette on that film, didn't we?
Yes.
Thank you so much, sweetie. Thank you guys at Comic-Con. We love you.
Thank you.
Come on.